peace, power, and love sent from above, from within, from all around in this realm, in this dimension, in this atmosphere, environment. The love, breath of life of the divine essence of the Creator in a natural, simplistic way. Not no man-made entity or mythology, but some naturalistic, universal, divine energy that we're talking about. We have to understand who we are and what this whole realm is about. Concepts and mythology and all that. We got to come out of that thinking. We have to be realistic, naturalistic, and divine. Again, before the sunrise, Blackanized, international Nubian consciousness, conscious chess moves with concepts of truth and motivation, stimulation from the chambers of the pyramids of my mind, from the innerverse, the divine energy, through understanding and insight and wisdom and knowledge attained in my travels and journey. But it ain't about me, it's about us as in unity and in a standing and synergy and frequency and vibration, coming together as a true black nation, loving one another, understanding one another, unifying in the divine way that we have to do, especially in this, again, political climate that we're in. I think that it may be one of the worst times of development of this political hypocritical system that we live under, with its promotion of white supremacy and institutionalized racism. But it's kind of erratic this day and this time, because I think there's an internal strife going on between the Neanderthals and the Wolf Clan. And that's what we got to understand, so we can not be part of this destruction, like they had the implosion in the Twin Towers. I think they have an implosion in the political makeup of the demonic concepts that they're trying to develop. But it's all, I believe, a part of the methodology to get to where they want to go. And I'm just piggyback. I don't deal with the pork. I'm on the monkey's back or the camel's back, on a brother I heard talking the other night, and that was Phil Valentine. He was talking about that they are at odds, talking about the guy on the seat and those the families in the Vatican and the Black Desert, which I don't really adhere to, but I'm just giving us something to, chew on, some food for thought. He was saying like the dude is bucking on 13 families and this and that and all that. But I kind of somewhat not believe that, because he was in the Vatican, him and Hillary, during the campaign or right after the campaign with the Black Jessup. And if we know what the Black Jessup is, he is the He is the orchestrator of things in that Vatican. The controller of the CIA, Mossad, and all those organizations, all the assassins. That's what they do. They do the bidding and assassinating of targets or whatever. And we got to realize that all these organizations that's under this nation, the Alphabet Clan and all that, they are private corporations. Ain't nothing to do with like affiliated of the United States of hypocrisy, or a government agency or something like that, or federal government. They have that title, but it's not. They're private corporations. We gotta realize that the Federal Reserve, the IRS, all those are like private corporations. And I always talk on this agenda because this is what's going on in our world, worldwide, from the same source, pluralistic entity, from local location. This capitalism, plain old capitalism. But when it extends those tentacles, those arms worldwide, every country on the planet, then it's imperialism. We have to know the stories or histories of different timelines on the planet, with like the Nazis and the Romans and the Russians, and a lot of these people still in power, and they at odds with each other, but it's all about manipulation and hypocrisy and lies, alternative facts, as they say now. But we got to realize and be on the plane of truth and a divine truth. We have to open up to the reality of who we are, the energy that we are, our culture. We have to get into our culture and the spirituality of our culture, African spirituality. Every aspect of what we did as a people culturally, on the flip side of what they do. Like today, it's Lupernalia Day, what they call Valentine's Day. It's based on two people getting killed by the Romans, and they call him Saint Valentine, and they supposed to, in love or something, promote that. But on the flip side of that, in the Roman culture at the time, on this day, there was something called Lupernalia. If you look it up on your YouTube or go in a dictionary, you'll see that it was a practice that they used to do during this period of time of getting together, groups of men and women getting drunk and all that, with some dogs or wolves or whatever. After they get drunk and stuff, then they chase the women and all that and be having sex. It was about sexual orgies and stuff like that. That's on the other side of what they call Valentine's Day. So that's what we got to realize, that we got to remember they call us pagans, but they're the ones that have pagan practices. And everything is based on from the Roman culture and the Empire of Rome that intermix everything they used to practice into this concept of Christianity that they developed in 325 AD at the Nicene Council by Constantine. Look it up. It's a fact, a biblical fact. Google it up, Nicene Council, and go in depth. You might have to go in depth of it and get other books related to it, but it's the reality. And another thing, when I be saying about, Islam and this or that, about they had slaves and all that, more slaves than the European, it's a fact. It ain't nothing I'm just saying or what I read. It is what I read, but I went to a country in Tanzania, southeast Africa, Akabu land, and they got the story there. The Africans there The Tanzanians tell you the story, written history. You can see the some of the buildings that where they came on the west coast, or I mean the east coast, right off that Indian Ocean and stuff like that. And they build stuff, establish the communities right there as they came inland. But the story is that they were Muslims at the time. They came and enslaved the Tanzanians. That's one aspect that I know for sure because I read the story. It's our story, not his story or his lies. But they accepted Islam. But all the things that came along with that occurred. The eunuchs, the concubines, and all that. In Zanzibar, Tanzania, all that in that area over there. So that's why I say whatever we practice is good, it's cool in the game. But what we had established before we came in contact of that learning of that culture, we already had established culture. So much so that from Ethiopia, ancient Abyssinia, all the way up to or down to ancient Kemet, we established a community in Malai and Dungo, all that. We had federations. We did. We were thriving, a thriving community. We built pyramids, not only there, but over here, South America, Central, all up and down there, with the Aztecs, the Amaleks, those big heads that they keep digging up, looking like us. They try to say it's monkeys. It's us. We got to realize who we are. We got to realize that we're the original indigenous, Aborigine. Here, the Native Americans, that was us. They don't tell us that that's who got slaughtered. Us. But they, in his lies, distort history, distort the story. We got to bring the reality back so that we can be in harmony and peace mentally and spiritually. We have to live harmoniously among each other in our communities. We have to take control of our communities and stop being manipulated by or stimulated by the wants or aspirations to attain all this materialistic contraptions or whatever for sensual pleasures, immediate gratification. I always tell a story of what happened my previous day, so today I like to speak on two things. Like yesterday when the storm or the wind was going on, I didn't hear nothing. And I told a brother that, I was astro traveling I must have went very deep in the universe or in the nocturnal gardens because I didn't hear nothing. When I got up, it just seemed so normal. I didn't even know nothing happened. It was just a strong wind yesterday, but I didn't hear nothing, man. And he said everything was like blowing around, all that. I ain't hear nothing. But later on in the day, my evening, I was going to the brother's circle, but that didn't occur. So I went to at first I stopped at the natural health food store down there. Got me one of them spinach things and a bean sandwich was good. Then I went around the Oracle's house around by on W Street, wait to go back to the Black Love Day down WEAC Radio. So when I got down there, it was like it was a great program with Ayo Handy, the creator of Black Love Day, her and Timon of WEAC Radio. He wasn't there. But she was there, and it was a great program. The vibes and the energy was like, oh man, prolific. She gave libation. We brought the ancestors in. You could feel it. Matter of fact, I'm still vibrating from it. Man, it was awesome. And everybody was sharing. And I didn't have to, but I shared too, and it's like apologizing. Apologizing to yourself and whatever thing was like gnawing at you. And I got up there and I apologized to myself for, everything that I'm going through now, because it's like a tug of war that I'm going through, because I'm human with my heart and mind with a certain situation and circumstances. And I became emotional, and I had to let this thing out, And I shared about my situation. I don't use this, my program or this program to shed light on anything like that, to regurgitate whatever activity that's going on in my life. I'm just sharing this aspect of it because it was Black Love Day yesterday, the 24th annual celebration of that. And in that atmosphere, it was like that's what was in there. So our ancestors was there, and the spirit of the divine essence of the Creator, it was in there, and the sisters and brothers was in there. It was real, and I felt it, So everything with my son, and I forgot to mention my brother when I was in the natural bar. Before I went back down to the Black Love affair, my brother Oski Doski, the gas god, met him when we talked, about some things that's going to be coming out that we are developing together. So y'all be ready for that, and ears and eyes going to be stimulated, and mind going to be stimulated with some peace and love. So that aspect of it was very good, man. Just to get out this emotional tug of war that I'm going through personally. But it's life, it's an obstacle or whatever, but it's all right. It's cool in the gang. So with that, when I left there, after I went through that and I listened to everybody else and stuff like that, I left a little early because I had to get home, Son called, talking about he don't feel like cooking. So I had to get home and take care of that with him. So on the way home, again, I run into somebody by divine decree, a young girl on the bus with a baby. She looks like a baby herself, but that's what be happening in this realm that we in when we be on our animalistic nature. It's good if our young people go through that sacred act of love and sex and come intertwine as one. In the way, make sure they sticking together or they get married or something, and they be serious. But when a young girl is 22 years old and just come out of high school, no other development, maturity, educationally or anything like that, 22 and got a baby, 22, I forgot how old she said the baby was. It was about what? Almost, she said 22 months or something like that, but she only 22 years old. She has a young brother, a young warrior, or whatever. Said he's working, but she's not working. And so we got in a conversation, and, I was letting her know that she's a queen, and she's a mother of this young man that's a prince, that she has to raise because she's the first teacher. That, she can't be having no low self-esteem. She got to have high self-esteem. And her and the man got to stay together because it ain't no joke out here now, especially. Because, see, the government, they backing up. So we can't depend on the government. We got to depend on each other. So it was very enlightening for me because she was listening and I was talking. But I'm talking in the reality of our situation and circumstances. And it seems as though I reached her. She's young, nice looking and all that, but you got to be prepared for that. You got to be mature to be a mother, And I told her she's a young lady. She ain't really mature. She's not in womanhood or whatever yet. And she already has a child that she going to be dependent upon her. but it went well because she listened, and she wasn't like bucking or anything like that. She was susceptible or receptible to the words that I was speaking that were coming through me. Cause I told her, you're my daughter. I'm like your father, extended father, and that's what's happening. We got to come together with everybody, with all us that we see, that we can drop a seed of motivation, a seed in the subconscious and the conscious. They're conscious of what they hear, but it goes to the subconscious, and in that soil of the spirit, in the soil of the spirit, for later cultivation when it's stimulated by something that happens, and and they regurgitate that thought, and oh, dang, he said that, and here it is, the situation that he was talking about. I have to be stronger, and this and that. We have to reach our children, our youth, our young adults, male and female, with our ulterior motives, ulterior motives, and be real, be sincere, and for the uplifting of our people, one person at a time, if it have to be. If we had we have a platform where we can reach more than one, we gotta be sincere. We gotta be culturally inclined, spiritually inclined, coming from the perspective of uplifting our people. And then it was just and then getting off the bus. As always, I'd be the last person on the bus, and this particular day was a brother that I met the other day, and I was talking to somebody, and he made a comment, and when I was getting off, he said, "Man, that was deep what you were saying," and it was, it was like, it was real correct what you were saying and all that, and we got in the conversation. He ain't even opened the door. I was at my stop, and me and him was talking. And I was letting him know that, me and you are the same. When I speak, you can also speak, because it's by divine decree, it's already prescripted in you, on your DNA. All you have to do is lock into it, or just absorb it, or know thyself. Just open yourself up to yourself. That's within your innerverse. You have to understand instead of understanding or overstanding. You have to deal with yourself first. And beyond the five senses first. You have to go to what they say the third eye, which is maybe the first eye of understanding. And once that happens, your clarity, your concepts are enhanced. So in this enhancements of your thinking, on the divine pretext of the divine nature that you have from the Creator, in a natural way, naturalistic way, in alignment with our ancestors left for us, on the pathway of our ancestors. See, this is the reality. This is what they don't practice, but we be under their practice. That's why we got to get back to African spirituality. That's our alignment with this energy, with this divine energy, and it's naturalistic. And that's what we got to get to. Even though we might practice all these other things, Islam, Christianity, Hebrew, Israelites, or whatever, and then we cannot become egotistical and self-centered or arrogant in our deliberation of it. I was looking at something the other day on, which I call my TV, word wise brother, and somebody said that he was tooting or snorting, and I don't like his deliberation, but he's very knowledgeable. But people that cuss all the time and vulgar all the time on a setting when they're trying to reach somebody, then it's like it tears down what you're building up because of the language. It's like you putting defecation with some honey and some molasses. It really don't mix. and some perfume on the defecation or something. Excuse me for being so, that's being vulgar or something. But I'm just trying to make a similarity of what I'm saying. When the knowledge that you have and the knowledge that you speak, but the way you speak it is like it need to be pure in essence. Why do you got to cuss with all the vulgar language when you're trying to reach somebody? It tears away from the deliberation, in my humble opinion. I may be wrong, and don't deny me a right to be wrong, as my fellow poet once said. That was George McCord of the Guitar of the Minds. He said, don't deny me a right to be wrong, because we are human beings. To a certain extent, the wrong that we do, long as it ain't hurting nobody, then, it's a personal thing that we have to grow from. And I just wanted to share that, and as I always do, is through love and understanding. And again, I was astro traveling. I came back a little earlier, but something pulled me back there and let me go look at this unique black rose up there, this celestial black rose that was in the Nocturnal Gardens where I was at. So I ain't gonna stay long today. And after a while, I'm trying to escalate this whole program here, this whole viewing. I'm trying to get a bigger studio. If I get a bigger studio, it'll be more interactive. And also, I want us to know that I'll be like on the international radio set with Brother Alpha Cuba, a brother that's in the UK, be talking about different political aspects. And I think the next time I go on there, it's going to be about these few days of the brother that's on the chair, the emperor that's on the chair over there in the Senate, in the big old house down there. So that's what the topic of discussion going to be about. And also, I just want to say, breathe that fresh breath of life that the Creator has given us to be on our sojourn and our journey from the understanding of the universe and this divine energy of the Creator that we have. Those of us who reach that level of understanding and know who we are, God on this planet, not the God concept that they has given us, but the energy of the Creator, this universal energy. I'm talking about that deity that's within us, within our body, to keep our heart beating, to give us that breath of life, that energy to develop into the high being that we are from a melanated standpoint. Carbonated is all natural, not synthetic, not based on his lies or concepts or mythology. Not that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about natural, simplistic origin. And that's what we got to get black into. We got to go black to the future to come to the now so that we can understand the now and perhaps have a glimpse of tomorrow. Because tomorrow is going to be today. But we have to, in a prolific, profound way, develop our environment and our communities to be in harmony and peace. We have to be in harmony and peace with one another. We have to go reach out young warriors on the street corners who are at war and don't even know why they're at war with each other. They get these weapons of war. They get these drugs to manipulate the war. And they get these everything that's put in front of them to be manipulated, to continue on that pathway of self-destruction. And self-genocide is just like suicide. It won't keep you alive because you'll be hurting one another and hurting our community. You got to realize, you got to ask yourself, why? Why am I doing it? Some people say, I got to eat. But it's another way that you can do it. You ain't got to do it in hurting people. You ain't got to do it like, when you sell drugs, you're hurting somebody. Because somebody ain't got no money to get that feeling, and it's a natural feeling. That's what we got to understand. You got to understand that if you hurt somebody, then they going to hurt somebody. It's going to keep on a ripple effect. And we got to stop that because it's affecting us, and they want us to affect us. See, they're affecting us on a higher level, and we're affecting ourselves on the lower level, from the street on up. But they got stuff falling out the air, chemtrails and stuff like that. They got stuff like in our food. They putting chemicals in our food and synthetic food, genetically modifying the food, taking the seed out, and putting insecticide in it and all that. They got stuff in our water, fluoride and all that to make us passive. They got stuff in there to make our men weak and make our women stronger, make our women into men and our men into women. You can see it in our around and looking at our youth and see how they're growing up. But it ain't by chance that this happened. It's by design. That's why we got to use our divine mind and be warriors that we're supposed to be. I say salam alaikum, peace to my brother Salim Shabazz. Thanks for joining us. But that's what's happening. And from the pyramids, from the chambers in the pyramids of my mind, from a divine essence of submitting to my ancestors and this divine energy that's in me, to allow this information to flow through me, that I'm in search of all this esoteric, arcane knowledge that goes back to African spirituality. I don't care if it's voodoo or juju or whatever. Everything that's pertaining to me as a so-called black man from the black land, I ain't got no problem with it, because I know whatever we use or whatever we done, we deal it to uplift ourselves and our community by healing the herbs and all that stuff. See, we dealing with a medical industry. The medical industry is all about money. Everything is about money and business. See, they don't do anything to prevent anything, because they know if they prevent diseases and all that, then they ain't gonna make no money. See, that's why they keep diseases going on. That's why, like this here, like in Cuba and like in Libya when Gaddafi was living, man, them people went to school and became doctors free. But in America, in this capitalist society, what do they got to pay $100,000 and all that? And when they come out of school, they already in debt. That's why they had them high salaries. We got to realize that the game being played on is a game indeed. We can't keep playing the game. We're too old. We've been here too long to keep playing the game. But we got a game within this game, and it can't be no game. We got to be serious, because it's our livelihood, it's our family livelihood, it's our community livelihood. We got to rise up as a people unified in love and peace. That's what we got to promote. Like yesterday was Black Love Day. And as I said, I was in that environment and that spirit, the energy. We gave libations, and our ancestor was in there. You felt the energy. I'm still vibrating from that energy last night. I had to let out, what I'm going through in love. Because I love myself and I love my people. I love each and every one of my people, even the ones that's predators and animalistic, and the ones that's Negro pins, because I got to, plant a seed or say something to bring them back around, because we need everybody. We need everybody to come together. The ones that don't come together, they have to be on the other side of the fence, because we have no defense against dealing what we have to deal with, this Roman democracy, hypocrisy, United Snakes of hypocrisy under satanic administration. See, we got to deal with that. And that's a reality under this so-called democratic so-called nation that's really demonic if you look at it. Because this process has been in process for some hundreds of years, centuries and stuff, and they close to where they want to be or get with all the technology and all the control that they have. We got to read, we got to understand, we got to read like the protocols of the learned elder of Zions. We got to understand that this is a callable nation, that this is a corporation of England. We got to know that the Vatican is, got its claws into this thing real deep. We got to understand that the Vatican got a lot of information that belong to us in those cellars underneath it. Miles of tunnels under it without information that they don't know how to use. We got to understand that in all those European countries, they got a black Madonna, but over here, and even in Africa, they got a European Madonna, or so-called Jesus, but the J didn't come out until the 15 or 1600s. But this is what they use to manipulate us. They use religion to divide and conquer, but there's nothing wrong with getting that spiritual concept or whatever religion you practice, but don't let it keep you separated from your people. If it's universal, if it's only one deity, as they say, then we got to come together. One deity is one understanding, is one universe. Like universe, uni means one. So if there's one creator, and if you practice it in Islam, Christianity, it's still bringing you together, not keeping you apart, not having you killing each other. Not with the CIA and the NSA and the NSC developing somebody called ISIS, using a chemic label. But ISIS is a set. That's a Kemetic deity that we worship. Not worship, but the personality of Asar, Set, and Heru is the concept of the Trinity. We don't worship. We just take on that character of development. And that's what it's all about. Even when you talk about God, you're taking on being God-like character of the harmony and peace and the nature of development, of lifting up, not tearing down, of unifying, of bringing together in harmony. That's what practicing religion should be about, bringing stuff together and unifying it. But the concepts of that man has put into these concepts is keep us divided and in disharmony. We got to be harmonized. We got to be in tune with the frequency and vibrations and energy of the divine essence, and not the manipulated frequencies and stuff that these people stole the information from us and using it against us and have us in a quagmire maze of deception to hurt each other. By design, we ask our young brothers out there why they do what they do. Like I said earlier, they tell me, I gotta eat. But you ain't gotta eat like that. You ain't gotta eat to hurt somebody. You ain't gotta be like a lion and a predator in your animalistic nature. You can be like a king and sit back on a throne and do what's right in harmony and peace with your family and everybody collaborating in harmony and peace. We got to take back the streets and take back our community, and we got to do that in accord with loving one another and promoting peace and promoting the divine energy of love that we have within. We got to understand who we are on a spiritual level, on an academic level, and understand that we're being attacked on all those levels in these institutions that we go to. We got to understand, understand, and overstand, but more so understand, so we can develop our infrastructure. And the infrastructure consists of dealing with our monetary system, our educational system, our spiritual system. Every aspect of living, we have to be in control of that. We have to do this yesterday. We have to do it with working in this system, but not being manipulated by this system. We have to be doing this in this. We have to find our way through the quagmire, deceptive maze that they created and the distorted reality that they have created. We got to pull the veils from over our eyes. We have to find the doorway from the beginning to the end in that quagmire and open doors for those that stuck in there to overcome their idiosyncrasies of whatever their pleasure principles or whatever the drugs or whatever they are enslaved to. And stop being a slave that's being manipulated. You're being manipulated to be a slave through your wants and not dealing with your needs, natural needs. We can, we do strive for a little bit more to enjoy ourselves, but don't be about overkill or to kill somebody to attain it. Be in love, be at peace. And I say that in the knowledge of the East. Coming to the West. Believe in yourself. Through that divine breath of life to know who you are in this world. Know that you're an extended family member. You are part of the village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to look after the village and protect the village. Because they snatching our children up. They're doing a lot of stuff for melanin, sex rings, and all that. Body parts. We got to protect ourselves. Got to do it in love. Hug somebody. Tell somebody you love them. Tell them how great they are. Tell them how great they are in peace, power, and love. A divine love, a black love. And promote our black businesses, establishes our black businesses in this time, in this day, by any means necessary, like our brother Malcolm said, our ancestor said. And remember what a king said. The dream that he had may be in a nightmare, but see, we got to manifest that dream into a reality. He also said he might be leading us into a burning house. You smell the smoke? It ain't changed, especially with this emperor up on the seat in the throne with his cabinet. His team is a team of what? Destruction. There's going to be destruction for our establishment of our communities. Some people say, give him a chance, he's going to be all right. It's about the money and all that. They want to run after the contracts and this and that and the money. But see, that's the deception in it. They gain control over us because we run after the money, this fraudulent fiat promissory note. But we need it. But we got to do it on our terms, the way we want. We got to do it, not letting them manipulating us and using us, and people selling their soul, becoming Negro pins, and being agent provocateurs, spiritually and culturally. We got to watch out for them. We definitely got to watch out for them. And I say again, peace, love, and power in a divine way. Through love, promoting peace. Be who we are. The knowledge from the east to the west, and the knowledge all in between. Natural, divine knowledge is for us and who we are, so that we can be the shining star, be that light, that when people see us, they are attracted to us because we're going to give them the truth from our hearts. That's what we got to do. Peace, family. Assalamu alaikum, hotep, ashe. And this day is a beginning of yesterday, the bright day, the great day. Do something great. Love your people and love yourself. Black Love Day was yesterday. Look, this day they practice Valentine's Day. It's cool with those who practice it. But understand what you're doing on the other side of that. It's a pagan practice that these Romans got us doing. They got us following them in everything that they do. Don't follow them. Be the creator and know what you're doing. Practice our own days, our own holy days, not unholy holidays. Peace. Love y'all.